Hey guys, and welcome to another video from 4 Free Skier. And today I got 10 things you should do on your bike before you start in the biking season. So as everybody of you should know, the temperatures are getting warmer, the snow is melting away, and a lot of bike parks are going to open soon. But there are a few things that you should check on your bike before you start the season. So the cool things about these 10 tips are that almost everything you can do on your own at home if you just have a little bit of knowledge about your bike and about working on a bike. And if you don't have that much knowledge, I want to do a lot of videos about these topics where I show step by step how to do it, because it is really easy. So let's jump right in. Tip number 1 is fairly easy and everybody of you can do that. It is the pressure in your tires. You should always check the pressure in your tires after the winter, because with the whole temperature change and maybe some micro holes in your tire or in the valve, it could be that the temperature is dropping just a little bit. So always make sure that you inflate the tire correctly to the correct pressure that you did right last season. And always keep in mind, if you got a little heavier or a little lighter, that you adjust the pressure according to your weight, because that's always key, that the pressure fits to your weight. So with tip 2, we are still talking about the tires, because it's about the profile of the tires. You should always check if the profile is still good, if there's still enough profile on it, because let's be honest, if you switch to new tires, the whole bike just feels different, feels way better, way faster through the corners, because you got just way more grip, especially in the corners. So make sure that these tires still have plenty of grip, and also check them on like really tiny or little like cracks or so, because this is a sign that the rubber kind of goes bad, if that makes sense. And then if you have these cracks, then you should also change the tire. Tip number 3 is really easy to do. Every pipe where there is oil in it, for the brakes for example, or with the dropper post, you should check if there are any leaks. And if there is a leak, usually, let's be honest, usually it doesn't happen. Like, I'm riding bikes for a long time and I never had any leakage with the oil. But if there is a leak, check if there's a hole in the tube, or if maybe just the screw is not tight enough. Make sure to check the leak and to fix it, because when there's oil leaking, it's always bad, especially when it's with the brake system. So now that we're talking about brakes, it's time for point 4, and it is check your brake pads. Because at the end of the season, sometimes you don't spend that much time about checking the brake pads. You do maybe like 1, 2, 3 little tours, and then at the beginning of the season you realize, oh, the braking pads are completely gone. So you should always make sure that there's enough material on these braking pads. A millimeter is like the thing to go where you should change the brake pads, because then there's just not enough material. With this, I would just take them out, inspect them really good, and see if you have to change them or not. But it's not just the brake pads that are wearing, it's also the brake rotors. And this is point 5. Also check the brake rotors for wear. Of course, the brake pads are built to wear out, and the brake rotors should just stay fine. But after 1, 2, 3 years maybe, it could be that there's a lot of wear in the brake rotors as well. And you can check for your specific brake rotor. Usually all manufacturers have a minimum thickness of the brake rotor. Check if you're still over that. If you're not, please change the brake rotor, because you don't want to have any risk about your brake system, and you want to be 100% sure that all this works. Then we are already at point number 6, and this is bleach your brakes if you have to. That means if you pull the levers on your brakes and it feels kind of smushy, like not a hard braking point, then you should definitely bleed the system, the whole system of the whole brake system. And I would recommend you just do it anyways, even if your braking point is pretty hard. You should just, like that's my advice, like change the braking oil at least once a year, or if you feel that the whole system needs to be bled. So just do that. It is really, really simple. If you want to, of course, as with any other points, I can do a video about that. I can do it with SRAM brakes or Shimano brakes, whatever you want to see, or both if you want to see both. Please just let me know in the comments what you want to see and what is most important for you, and really I can do step-by-step guides where literally everybody can do that after these videos, because it is really easy. There's nothing hard about it if you do it right, and then you can save so much money, because especially things like changing the oil in the brake system, it is so expensive if you do it in a shop. And of course you can save a lot of money, and it doesn't take that much time, and it also doesn't take that much like technical equipment. You don't need that many tools, and the tools you need are not going to be super expensive. Change your gear cables, because almost nothing makes that much of a difference than to change a gear cable. And these gear cables are like $2 or $3. They don't cost a lot of money, and they really make the shifting so much crisper, so much quicker. It almost feels like you just got a whole new shifter in the back or in the front, and it's really, really easy and really simple to change these cables. Now we're getting way deeper in the system, and it is about the suspension front and rear. So you should service your suspension. Usually, for example, Fox is saying after 50 hours you should make a lower leg service, change the dust wipers and everything. It's kind of up to you if you want to do it in these intervals, but I would always recommend at the start of the season, do a lower leg service, change the dust wipers, do that on the fork, and also do that with the dampener in the bag with the rear shock. It is really not that hard to do. I did it with, I think, like 20 forks now and a lot of dampeners, and I never had any issues after that. There are just a few things you have to keep in mind, and if you do that, then you're basically good to go. Of course, with a lot of forks it's a little bit different with these or that forks, and a few screws look different. They don't have the same size, but the basic idea is always the same. If you want to, I can do, as I said, videos about that. I got a Fox 36 factory series with a Fit 4 compression dampener. Then I got a Fox 32 100mm with the Terralogic system, and I also have a Fox 32 CTD float fork where I can show that. So these forks are the ones that I can just do the service whenever I want to, so that I can show you. So the one that is most interesting for you, please let me know in the comments and I'll do that first, but I can do all of them if you want to, and even go for a RockShox or anything. Just let me know, and I'll do my best to do all the forks that you need. And of course I can do the same thing with the dampeners, because there it's way easier. Just change the seals and then a bit with the oil, but it's really easy and I can show you that. Point number 9 is to check the pressure of your fork and your dampener, because it's the same as with the tires. The pressures can change just a little bit, and a little bit difference in the shock just means that the suspension feels way different, and that the sag is just not correct for you. So make sure to check the pressure in your dampeners, in your rear shock, in your front suspension, and also, as I said before, kind of adjust it if your weight has changed over the winter. And then there we are already with point number 10, and this is check all your bearings if they have any play. So for all of you guys, it is the headset bearings where the fork goes through the frame. You should check those, and you should also check if they have enough grease on it. So make sure to grease them properly so that the water can't get into the bearings. And for those of you who have a full suspension bike, also check the rear triangle, check all the bearings, make sure just wiggle around a bit, make sure if these bearings are still tight. If they're not, then you should check if maybe just the screw is loose. But if the screw is tight and the correct torque, then it could be that your bearing is just not working perfectly anymore. And then you should replace these bearings, because They are not expensive, and it really makes a difference for your whole suspension feeling if you keep these running smoothly. So guys, that's it with the 10 tips. As I said before, all of these tips I already did before on my own. So if you want to know how to do it, please let me know in the comments down below what you want to know, which videos you want to see first. And also if there are some things that I didn't talk about, for example like setting your gears correctly or so, but you want to know how to do it, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to keep you updated through the whole summer season. That's because you should always subscribe to the channel, because there's a lot of bike related stuff coming. So if you have any more questions about the bikes or about anything, as I said 1,000 times before, let me know in the comments down below. If you liked this video, if you thought it was helpful, please give it a thumbs up and please consider to subscribe, because there's a lot of cool stuff coming up on this channel. And so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you on the next video with 4 free skier. Bye guys.